Time for Homeschooled as Sal Licata joins us here on Geico Sports Night. And Sal, plenty of tightness and soreness in that rundown there. So how open to second guessing are the Mets here for letting deGrom make the start on Wednesday night?
It's not second guessing, it's a first guess. I've been saying it all week. I don't understand how I can know, but the Mets can. I mean, why would you risk putting him out there? DeGrom's fine, right? He knows his body. There's no issue. He feels he's good. The Mets think, oh, the manager's not concerned about it. The organization, oh, we did the test, I'm fine. Well, then how come he keeps leaving these ball games 5 innings, 3 innings? Something is clearly wrong. So after the last time, they were already through this, as you mentioned, Eamon, before with the lat issue earlier in the year. That time it didn't work out. They do it again this time. I don't understand how many times this has to happen before they realize, hey, he needs some rest. Let's just give him some rest here for a couple weeks. They're not in dire straits. They've been playing great baseball. They actually have guys in that rotation behind him that are pitching well. The lineup has done well, even with all the injuries. There's no need to push it in June when the one thing that can derail the Mets season, and they're well on their way to running away with the National League East, the one thing that can derail their season is an injury, a significant one to Jacob deGrom. So I knew the Mets should have rested him coming into this start. They start him predictably after leaves early, after 3 innings. He could say he's fine. They could say it's no concern. Clearly something is wrong. Otherwise, he'd be pitching 8 innings in 1 start, not in 2.
Now, we're going to hear from Luis Rojas later on in the show, but we just heard from Jacob deGrom saying he feels okay. The first initial test on the shoulder were okay. Is it time for Sandy Alderson here, Sal, to just step in and look Jacob deGrom in the eye and say, look, as you mentioned, we have a nice lead in the division. We need to shut you down for at least 10 days.
Yeah, and I get Eamon, it's a delicate balance, right? Because if the Mets shut deGrom down, then they run the risk of taking him off, which you don't want to do. You don't want to lose favor with the best pitcher in the world. So I understand that it's a delicate balance. But, yeah, somebody needs to step in. Either Alderson or I don't care who it is, the GM, manager. Somebody's got to step in and say, look, Jake, we love you. I appreciate your competitiveness. We're shutting you down for a couple of weeks, at least, and just see if he feels good, when he feels 100% ready, no issues. You cannot keep doing this. It's also hurting the ball club because you're expecting Jacob deGrom to go out there and start the ball game and at least give you 6, 7 innings, maybe even 8 or 9, dare I say. And then he has to leave after 3, and now you're taxing the bullpen on a night where you weren't expecting it. So it's no good for deGrom. It's no good for the Mets currently, and it's no good for the Mets looking ahead. Somebody needs to step in and say, we're going to shut you down for a little while until we make sure that this thing, whatever it is 100%, no issue, and we can move forward without having to worry about it every 5th day.
And everyone can say these injuries aren't connected. It certainly feels like they're all connected.
We are now joined by former Mets catcher and current BNNY colleague Anthony Recker. Anthony, nice to see you. Jacob deGrom sounded more frustrated than he did last week, but still optimistic. So what do you make of the comments that you just heard?
Yeah, you could tell Jake is certainly frustrated with what he's having to go through right now. All these starts where not necessarily that he can't go out there, it's that he can go out there and he's just not able to finish, not able to give his team, the length that he wants to give them to go out there and compete as a baseball player, as a professional athlete. We want to go out there and compete. That's what we get paid to do. That's what we love to do. And he's just so frustrated right now with the fact that he keeps getting limited in what he's able to go out there and do, what he's able to go out there and give this team. It's a frustrating time for him. It's a frustrating time for Mets fans and for, I'm sure, this organization and the players and coaches as well, because they want to have their ace out there doing what he does best and doing it for them.
Absolutely, and we always discuss how in tune deGrom is with his body and his mechanics. Where is the balance in trusting your pitcher's self-evaluation versus the organization being cautious?
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where you have to understand who the player is and how well he knows his body. That being said, I think at some point you have to take it out of the player's hand. He is obviously the type of guy who wants to go out there and compete and wants to be out there all the time for his team, for himself, for the city, for everybody. And the fact that he is not able to do it and he's going to continue to try to push himself to go out there, that gives me the pause where maybe I'm thinking, okay, at some point, maybe I have to take this out of his hands and we just have to try and manage this ourselves and tell him, look, we know you want to be out there, but maybe, give it a couple of starts where you don't go out there, we keep you off the mound for a little bit and see if we can get all of these things to calm down. Because whether they're related or not, they seem to continually happen repeatedly. So I think at some point you just have to take that away from him and say, look, Jake, we just need you to rest, and we really need you come, 2-3 weeks from now, whenever it may be, on for the rest of the season. And that's what we want you here for, is for that stretch run.